Well, hi kids out there in Wonderland. We're burning with desire here at GreenFire, thanks to the staff who are innovative and creative, and we got the flow going now, man. Look at that. Thanks to everybody here at PATV, Alex and Sajid, and everybody who's putting this thing together. So we got some GreenFire of desire today, and today is the 25th. 27th? I think, yes, the 27th of June, first week of summer. So like everything is burning with desire of green fire. And this is the beginning of going to the Sun Trail, okay? Going to the Sun Trail means you may be going to the Rainbow Gathering, or you may be going to some gathering that you're more familiar with. But please go to a gathering of some kind if you can. If not, go to an inner gathering, which is calling all gathering of the forces of light coming together. Forces of light coming together in this time, about a week ago or so, we mentioned about steering the stars, right? Getting ready for taking this whole thing and steering the stars for this immense journey because we're going vertical. And so in the last 3 weeks we've been doing what's called going vertical, which is a deep ecological event. And deep ecology is permeating throughout this whole green fire campfire that we live around every week in this electronic campfire that we gather around. So in this perception, it's the doors of perception are opening a little bit wider as we go much more vertical into the cosmic possibility of who we are as human beings. The cosmic possibility is right here and right now, and it's through regeneration of understanding and compassion, okay? And the locus foci, right? The locus foci has been the Driftless, which is a bioregional area of southwest Wisconsin, southeast Minnesota, northwest Illinois, and northeast Iowa. This whole area is where the glaciers didn't go. And when you travel up on the Great River Road of the Mississippi River, it's called the Great River Road, they're now starting to call it the Driftless. That's a big event. It's first time co-created human language with bioregional language, which means geologic time is entering linear time, okay? We're both going ancient future, back to the future, also to the Paleolithic. So the Eolithic time, we're in it, and it's called the Ecozoic. All these terms may sound kind of odd, kind of different, but as we begin to use them, bioregional vision, Ecozoic, Eolithic, all of this stuff is layered upon layer of deep ecological understanding of us going vertical as a planet. And so this is, again, another frame of reference. It's called re-inhabitory time. Literally reclaiming the soil, the soul of the soil literally under our feet. Not for this, only just this generation, but for the 7th generation yet to come. So like this is an intergenerational event that goes clear out 7 generations. And it's an iteration of ideogrammatic images, okay? So like you form an image, is called a mythic image. That could be called the imago mundi, the image of the divine, imago Dei, but it could also be the image of the earth with Eolithic, within Eolithic or mythic time. So it would be imago mundi, all right? So this new language, we have to experiment, but more or less accept the terminology of the place of which we live without with a new mind map, so we can begin to navigate where we're at with this new mind map, never knowing that we've been standing on terra incognita, unknown territory all this time. Why? Because we've been living linear time. Okay, so we're not going to be living linear time. We're going to be living in kairos, kairotic time, or vertical, right? No longer horizontal all the time. We're going to shape shift our mind map to go vertical. That's why I say love will still steer the stars, love will steal the stars. So we're star throwers here, and we're here to steer and steal the stars back into the heart chakra of love, light, and life, okay? We're moving out of necrophiliac time, right? We're moving out of dead time, love of dead time, which is the 1260, the 60-minute hour, and the 12 months of a 60-minute hour, Monday to Friday, banker's time. That is time is money. We're moving into time is art. That's a planet art network. That's where the GreenFire comes in, because Pan lives and loves the GreenFire, okay? And emerald, the emerald eye of Merlin emerges from the GreenFire. This is all part of the Eolithic renewal, re-inhabitory time, and it's part of who we are as human beings. And it doesn't matter who we are. We're all part of this shift. It's a subtle shift, but an essential shift. And have hope and have faith. We don't necessarily need to believe. We just need to have faith. And hope is the beginning, and beyond hope is faith. So this is the grace we're given in this golden eternity of this particular hour. What we'll begin with is share a little bit about the summer solstice and about our own the mothers of the world. Midsummer dreams beguile us after the longest day, entice us to expand, flourish, bring all we were meant to be out into the sun. This is the season of love made manifest. Prehistoric monuments the world over align with sunrise at the solstice, ushering in this time of flourishing. Plants, animals, and the young of all species gamble in the light and the warmth. Like flowers, our petals too unfurl as we dance and sing and celebrate the fullness of our creative lives. And that's a lot to say. Encourage others to seek the fullness of their lives. We work to make our dreams of social justice and freedom for all beings manifest through thoughtful, sustained planning and action. This is the peak of the solar year, the apex of growth, flowering and fruiting. After this beacon point, light begins imperceptibly to diminish and slowly give way to longer dark. We will need to give thoughts to those approaching days. But for now, joy is fiercely tiger-striped as we taste and savor all our abundant blessings. And this is to be aware of the dark time to come as the light diminishes. But at the same time, we need to be celebrating the solstice and the return of the sun itself. These in all of what we're about and what we're about and what we're about and what are we about. So let's go right into this piece that was just written for us today. I just wrote it. This is this is the fourth part of the Driftless series on the Driftless. And each time is a deeper diving, a psychic diving, we want to call it. Psychic diving into the Driftless, both within and the implicate and the explicate without. And we just follow our truth, we follow our intuition. We come into the Driftless with some awareness and no awareness. This is all sensitivity and no intensivity, and no intensivity of tensegrity, and no intention on our part. It's a body of awareness that draws us there, mostly because of its scenic beauty. The bluffs along the Mississippi River, especially the upper Mississippi River, say north of Quad Cities and north. It's a body of awareness that draws us there, mostly because of its scenic beauty. Half of the question is the Driftless aware of us? That's our job. Not a bad job, but it's a good question. Is the Driftless aware of us? In its many valleyed forests, the chain gang came through here and clear-cut and logged a lot of the forests. More than 100 years ago, what remains are the Kettle Moraine remains of Dreamtime before DeSoto and the killing of Chief Blackhawk at DeSoto, Wisconsin. If we are fortunate to have a biopsychic field that adds to the tensegrity and intentionality and tonality of our awareness, we gather here in the Driftless for different reasons and different seasons. Some intimate, some sacred, some personal, some all three, on the high front porch step of one of the bluffs overlooking Mississippi Driftless. And we just drift away on the high ethers and the high cumulus, and we just drift away into the Driftless. When biodiversity and cultural diversity straighten up and do things right, they are eagle in flight on this great upper Mississippi Midwestern flyway. So far, some of the only things they've got right is to name some of the great river road the Driftless. That's a beginning. Something to celebrate. A lot of this is inchoate, non-chthonic. It is vertical and can give you vertigo. So we got to go slow here. As the wisdom of the turtle. The wisdom of the turtle crawls through here and says, go slow. Slowly, slowly. Get there quickly. Otherwise, if you go vertical too fast, you get vertigo and you get dizzy and you fall over. If you're not prepared or tuned in. It's summer solstice. The rainbow family of living light has already begun to go on the Going to the Sun trail for a fortnight of sun dancing, full moon. Full moon tonight is in spin, and we are taken into an other deeper time when the world was young, and we are in higher union, and we are in higher union of magical child. This is all vertical. Biophilius, love for life. cosmosphere. This cosmosphere is biophilius, love for life, of the bioregional vision, being displayed in a beatific way. This comes from a sacred fusion of the highly personal with hyperspace, spread upon the earth for us to see when we are granted the grace to see the place with second vision. These are no infrared night goggles. This is granted only when we open our heart. Sacré cœur, sacré cœur, sacred heart. Deep in the dark night, when no one is there, this is not the dark night of the ninth hell of scientific materialism in Babylon. That's horizontal necrophilius. This is biophilius. This is the dark night of the soul, when the loss of someone so sacred, so near, so dear, stuns and overcomes our life and brings us to a crashing thunder halt, such as it was on June 23rd, 1997 for me. The loss of someone so sacred, so near, so dear, stunned and overcomes our life. This is the dark night of the soul. This brings us to a crashing thunder halt. The Winnebago of the Driftless know this. So does Mountain Wolf Woman and Thunder Woman. For her cries are from the deep Paleolithic time of the true ecology of driftless mind. Bodhisattvas and sutras of compassion live here too. Bodhisattvas and sutras of compassion live here too. Singing Om Namaha Shivaya. 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 This is not just any full moon. This sorrow, this grief, so deep, takes you back to the cocoon of your existence up in Echo Hollow. This is not just any full moon. This sorrow, this grief, so deep, takes you back to the cocoon of your existence up in Echo Hollow. In some front store unit of Moon Zoo, and the compassionate driftless Mississippi refuses no river. And the compassionate driftless Mississippi refuses no river. And the full moon pulls riptides of deep driftless currents till they burn on our back a new name as a painted turtle coming in from deep Adena, near Wadena, and the healing energy rays and the healing energy waves of the deep astrocartographical mound culture charts our bioregional mapping back into the stars. This astrocartography biopsychic mapping of our vertical cosmic self leads us back into the constellations of the stars, our true birthplace, our true brother. And these emanations of the second vision are the coming of our starseed transmissions, of our double diamond Vertex Sutra, embedded in our very RNA, and the world becomes anew in our very marrow and sinew, right here in situ in the Driftless. For here lay the bedrock of the world. For here lay the bedrock of the world for this 5th round of humanity. Here, the flowering of the 6th sun will pulsate as emanations, and Phaedra is replaced with Arhate, quality, true quality, with gumption. And we follow the path with the heart. And we follow the path with the heart. And we follow the path with the heart through the Holy Trinity of love, light, and life, and the Immaculate Conception at the Sacré-Cœur White Cross at the geomagnetic center of the Driftless and the geomagnetic deviation zone of telluric standing stones at backbone. It births Earth Boy 40 into laughing Mirth Boy 40. And the whole thing is at a standstill as all this anomalous phenomena laughs as fireflies flicker their biosexuality into the July night and shape-shift their merry lovemaking into midsummer night's dream of morphogenic resonance fields of fairy light in flight, of fairy light in flight. And this rupture of plane, and this rapture of plane can only be gotten with the help of Jonathan Livingston Seagull in his biplane, with Pioneer Avatar aviator goggles. And this rupture of plane, and this rapture of plane whirls us into unknown space, a cosmic milkweed, terra incognita, spinning, spinning, spinning out into the unknown universe of omniverse, standing right under our feet, standing right under our feet, as we are graced for the first time to see the Driftless with the second vision, as we are graced for the first time to see the Driftless with the second vision, and return to dream time. It inures and ensures this deep ecology planet drum bioregional mapping is beginning to psychogenically form new ideograms of Imago Mundi in our minds. Through wild crafting into deep stone certainty, a new story, as we become but one carrier of the dream wheel, and Wombly and Wapiti and Eagle and Elk and Ursa Major can't help but hurry her return in this river of only return, this river of only return, this compassionate Mississippi who refuses no river. Aho. That's going into deep time, deep ecological time, but also mythic time, the imaginal body of Imago Mundi time. So we're working with Blake, we're working with Campbell, and all the great mentors who have come before. One would even include Jung at times, and and the understanding of ones who have crossed this way before. And then in the center of the cross, when a cross is vertical and horizontal, that horizontal better be in the middle of that vertical. If that horizontal is above the middle of the vertical, that's a sign that man is apart from the earth. When that horizontal is right in the center of the vertical, that's a sign that man is part of the earth. And when Columbus came, that horizontal was way off of the center of vertical. So that was a sign that man was not a part of the earth, that man was apart from the earth. He was an alien in a strange land, because he came with the conquistador's cross, the cross of conquest and killing and marauding and genocide. That is no white cross there. So we're going to go back and go through the first four. These are 4 pieces that are part of the Driftless. And in order to understand it, sometimes we have to look at the beginning. This is kind of a Vertex event, and so let's go back to the beginning. To see where we've been. See, first was think outside the box. Vertex event is the second. And okay, think outside the box. We begin with think outside the box. Coming around the riverside curve, the Palace of Dreams occurs. In front of 528 South Dubuque Street, there is a tall leaning tree. It's a magnetic deviation zone, an anomalous phenomena of learning in the Palace of Dreams. An art scrotum stroker doesn't live there. An art scrotum stroker doesn't live there because he thinks inside the box, always plotting, always scheming, always demanding, never learning, never giving, never forgiving. He sits inside his MBA suite, always calculating, always subdividing the real estate he doesn't even own. He sits there night and day in front of his screen, squeezes out the last demons of his hedge fund. That is his entire foreplay for the day, as he always thinks inside the box. And not a whole lot of people know about him, as he hides behind screens from wake up to drop dead away sleep, counting his profits instead of sheep. And when you come round Riverside Curve into the Palace of Dreams, you don't think about these things. They are horizontal. You begin to learn a new way. You begin to think outside the box. What does this mean? It means you vacate the scene, the horizontal scene of top-down, authoritarian mind, intentional chaos, culturally created, that keeps the sheep from ever looking up. The same horizontal scene that has as its dogma for the religion of churchianity, of shock jocks, stockbroker developers, the wrecking ball whoopee crane of creative destruction, of built-in obsolescence of the grim raper called capitalism, in the belly of the beast, of the whorehouse called Babylon. And to thus think outside the box is Exodus. Exodus from the horizontal plane everyone is staked upon, where telephone poles are crucifixes upon the earth, whose talking wires sputter the offal of Babylon gutter talk of Attila the stockbroker, and this hum never lets up in the beta wave capital called empire, Why do they call it enterprise? Because they got you thinking if you enter, you get a prize. What they don't tell you is some Wall Street sucker comes up behind you and double rabbit punches you by surprise. That's your prize, sucker. It's called bankruptcy in good old Babylon, and that's horizontal thinking inside the bucks on the staked plain, in your face, raw baboon Babylon. Capitalism. It ain't got no moral compass. It just got the demon seed of greed. And no cat in the hat can pull your shit back, Jack. 'Cause this shit for brains has a combine ravager, as a raper of the commons and all good things, even common sense. Why? Because of people who think inside the bucks. So now, dear friend, let's take a pause right here. Let's breathe deep here. Let's now bring this whole thing to a standstill. Let's bring this whole thing to a standstill. Let's begin to look up. Let's begin to go vertical. Let's begin to think outside the box. That means the radical thought that a lot of things are free. Like we're free, and we may be freaks, and we are free. Let's begin to look at the space between the molecules, nano space, the space between objects. This stuff is necessary. This is the right stuff. This stuff don't carry no unholy. This is beyond all dogma. This is beyond all orthodoxy, beyond all hierarchy, beyond all authority, beyond all states, all institutions. This is vertical, dear friend. This is free, where we begin to set the terminology to think outside the box. This is not necrophiliac thinking. This is not love for death thinking, of thinking inside the box. This is biophiliac thinking, thinking outside the box. This is love of life thinking, where biocracy is the key in the commons round the riverside curve, where the seventh generation yet to come has a hold on this vision, which now occurs in this palace of dreams called the Good Red Road, the road of life, which runs north and south, which is vertical on the medicine wheel of life. And it comes in colors everywhere. And it comes in colors everywhere, in the rainbow hoops of biodiversity and cultural diversity, in the red, black, white, and yellow hoops of all the nations of humanity. Here, the Time Lords put the hue back into humanity. And this asymmetry is all diversity through biophilia, this love for life. On this vertical tree, there is a flowering of the sixth sun. On this new sunrise of humanity, this includes you and me, dear friend, and the magical child inside. You and me, the magical child inside you and me, which gleefully sings, "Wee!" as we think outside the box. That's part one, intro into this Driftless event. This is entering re-inhabitory time of the Driftless through bio-regional vision. This is entering re-inhabitory time of the Driftless. There comes a time when we think outside the box for our very survival, not just our own survival, but for the entire planet's survival. Both biodiversity and cultural diversity. We begin by looking at our home as biome, a biophiliac's way of seeing life, a biophiliac's, a lover of life, way of saying Om. This biome is our planetary home. Biome, this little blue dot, this blue-green marble water planet is home, our biodome. And when you give an iota, you care inherently about the biota and about the 7 generations yet to come. You care inherently about the biota and the 7 generations yet to come. Just as our elders and ancestors cared about us, we are the 7th generation yet to come of our ancestors. And we don't carry no unholy. And we don't carry no unholy. And we don't carry no unholy. We walk on the shoulders of those who came before us. Just a little respect. Just a little reverence. We want to give for their ways. Just a little respect. Just a little reverence. We want to give for their ways of daily holding us up, of daily feeding us, of daily clothing us. And in this 3rd morning of our awakening, we are beginning to believe it because we don't carry no unholy. Because we don't carry no unholy. We care for the least of these just as they are. Sometimes in life, we are the least of these. Sometimes, not all the time. Let us not fall in love with the objects purchased by our daily bread. Let us not fall in love with the objects purchased by our daily bread, for they are temporal and an illusion. And we come to a time roundabouts here, and we come to a time roundabouts here when we have a revival, a camp town meeting, a Chautauqua. And this is that time, dear friend. And this is that time. It's time to seek. It's time to speak to the carriers of the dream wheel. Let's see what the dream wheel is on our biocompass. Let's see what the dream wheel is on our moral compass. It is the biopsychic field through and upon which we astronavigate our day. It is literally where our field of dreams lay. The carriers of the dream wheel say the Driftless is this biopsychic field of this great medicine wheel. This is a higher elevation. This is a higher education. This is a higher elevation of our higher union. This biopsychic field charges and activates the field of play and the auras of wonder as our natural place. As we leave the necrophiliac capitalism world of being boxed in the horizontal by thinking inside the box, as we begin our exodus, our radical shift, our epigenetic shift into the planetary organism of biophilia, our love for life and love for life only, as we free ourselves outside the box, as we enter the vertical and enter the liminal, the once upon a time timeline of our lives, an evolutionary spiral shift, and it ain't too late to end up on the hate in this eternal etheric summer of love, turning, turning, turning into the planet of the dove. This is the timeline of the unfolding lotus, because we are now entering re-inhabitory time, right here in the Driftless. As we awaken in our exodus, that there is no Driftless without us. We arrive through bioentrainment of our minds as new pioneers in the Driftless. As we go vertical and enter our manifest divinity, the birthright of ourselves as cosmic humanity, right in the epicenter of our echo-centered thinking of the echozoic, right here in the great Mahayana middle way of this great upper Mississippi born-again hippie, of this great Majamican upper Midwest flyway. This is our simple realignment of our thinking as we both follow our truth and follow our bliss and go vertical. And go vertical. This ain't easy, my brother. This is gradual. This is intrepid treks, going further through process into this higher union of our cosmic humanity and manifest divinity. To activate this divinized light of wonder, we simply begin our entrance into re-inhabitory time. In the Driftless and the algific talus slopes of the Kettle Moraine forests, by sourcing our joy through this bioregional vision, entering the Craton as pioneers, where nature is legislature, as there's a new law, land, air, and water. There's a new law, land, air, and water. Law, L-A-W, land, air, and water. This is where nature is legislature as we begin to source our joy through bioregional thinking and the bioregional vision. And the ecocentric thinking is there's a new law where nature is the legislature, and the new law is land, air, and water. The third part is cosmogenesis, K, cosmogenesis. It's summer solstice. Arctic Zimbabwe is not a meme. That ought to make you feel good. Arctic Zimbabwe is not a meme. That ought to make you feel good. Go low and go slow is the motto. Summer solstice means the sun stands still for 4 days, a major arcana, cardinal point on the seasonal wheel. And we just rode right into this on a horse with no name. And we just rode right into this on a horse with no name. And this solstice is where our soul stands still for 4 days as we grieve the loss of our loved ones, so near and so dear. As Tunkashila thunderclaps roll the clouds of cumulus, and a friend told me she just got kicked out of a yoga conference in Phoenix. Another friend said he was with Guru Amma in New Mexico, Om Jai Jai Ma. And another said she had an out-of-body experience with white light tunnel in a waiting station with other people waiting. Then there was a strong pull like a magnet at her back, pulled her away from there, and she opened her eyes and was back in a medical clinic with a crash cart ready to be on her, and she didn't know where she was for a few blinks. All in response to a message sent raining about and celebrating the rain. And we arrive into the Driftless as our cosmic birth print. And we arrive into the Driftless as our cosmic birth print, our green print, our celestial inheritance. And the whole thing comes through in wave after alpha wave, as lightning and thunder roll on this afternoon, summer solstice afternoon. And this has been the pattern this whole June. And this has been the pattern holding a low pressure over the upper Midwest Driftless this whole June. Darkness at noon, mid-90s and humidity, followed by record and near record rains on this, the 10th anniversary of the epic flood. And this, the 10th anniversary of the epic flood. Still, this is the summer of love. Still, this is the summer of love, dear friends. Turning, turning, turning into the planet of the dove. The planet of the dove. And Driftless has a deep ecology and a deep heart song for this, and a deeper sacred terminology, and deeper yet sacred geometry, with astro-archaeological mounds, with healing energy rays, HRS, and emanations coming in from everywhere, Erewhon and nowhere. Emanations from the hierarchy, emanations from the hierophany, emanations to the hieraths who are awakening to their manifest divinity. Each and every day, these are graces from divine intelligence up and down the plane once one goes vertical and thinks with a biophiliac mind, love for life. Biophilius, and the thunder rolls, and the thunder rolls, and the thunder rolls, and the thunder really rolls, and the tree of life appears. Cosmogenesis, healing energy waves as graces. Cosmogenesis, healing energy waves as graces. Starseed transmissions from higher intelligence of the celestial spheres. And this hookup is never ending. And near Strawberry Point at Backbone, these emanations form a beatific vision that lasts all night. This cosmogenesis is a fixity of the white light, both horizontal and vertical, on an axial mundi plane, on an axial mundi plane, a white cross in midair. On an axial mundi plane, a white cross in midair that lasts all night. An aurora from an off-planet borealis, a white cross in midair amidst the standing stones of Backbone. This is the epicenter of the Driftless. This cosmic consciousness is implicate, loving, infinite order of the universe, a higher union with higher beings, bodhisattvas, all with bodhicitta motivation through this direct yogic perception and grounding of the starseed transmissions, seeding the Driftless and the entire planet with higher intelligences of divine compassion, the awakening and remembering of our cosmic inheritance, and grounding of our aboriginal being here in this re-inhabitory time out of mind in Driftless cosmic planetary paradigm mind shift from the old worn out paradigm of Babylon capitalism, of necrophilia thinking, the P3 of power, profits, and pleasure, into the biophilius mind, the love for life mind of people, P3 of people, peace, and planet, in this infinite, immense, intelligent compassion called Sophia. And the thunder rolls on the summer solstice, turning of the wheel at standstill in this evolutionary spiral hegira upward through grace alone. We see and discover the Holy Trinity through the grace of this Immaculate Conception, light, love, and light. In our holy electricity body, and the Holy Trinity of love, life, and light, in our holy electricity body, here regeneration, marvels, and miracles is possible in this Kairos Driftless moment. Exuberance, emanations, amazing grace. And this is the fourth part that was written today, which is the fourth part of this Driftless cosmogenesis. We come into the Driftless with some awareness and no awareness. This is all sensitivity and no intensivity of tensegrity, and no intention on our part. It's a body of awareness that draws us there, mostly because of its scenic beauty. Half of the question is the Driftless aware of us? The other half of the question is the Driftless aware of us? In its many valleyed forests, the chain gang came through here and clear-cut and logged a lot of the forest more than 100 years ago. What remains of the Kettle Moraine Forest are the remains of Dreamtime before DeSoto and the killing of Chief Blackhawk and the conquest and Cortez and Columbus. And the killing of Chief Blackhawk at DeSoto. If we are fortunate to have a biopsychic field that adds to the tensegrity and intentionality and tonality of our awareness, we gather here in the Driftless for different reasons and different seasons. Some intimate, some sacred, some personal, some all three. On the high front porch step of one of the bluffs overlooking Mississippi, Driftless. When biodiversity and cultural diversity straighten up and do things right, they are eagle in flight on the great upper Midwestern flyway. So far, some of the only things they've got right is to name some of the great river road the Driftless. That's a beginning, something to celebrate. A lot of this is inchoate, non-chthonic. It is vertical and can give you vertigo if you go too fast. If you're not prepared or tuned in, if you go too fast, you'll get vertical and fall over, lose your balance. So you got to go slow and use the turtle wisdom. Go low and go slow. Slowly, slowly. Get there quickly. It's summer solstice. The rainbow family of living light has already begun to go on the Going to the Sun trail for a fortnight of sun dancing, full moon. The full moon is in spin, and we are taken in to another deeper time when the world was young. And we are in the higher union. And we are in the higher union, in the West Union of the magical child. This is all vertical. Biophilius, love of life cosmosphere of the bioregional vision being displayed in a beatific way. This comes from a sacred fusion of the highly personal with hyperspace spread upon the earth for us to see when we are granted the grace to see the place with second vision. These are no infrared night goggles of the Pentagon. This is the granted only when we open our heart. The Sakwe Kwer, granted only when we open our heart. Sakwe Kwer. Deep in the dark night, when no one is there. This is not the dark night of the ninth hell of scientific materialism in Babylon. This is the dark night of the soul, when the loss of someone so sacred stuns and overcomes our life, stuns the field, and brings us to a crashing thunder halt. Winnebago of the Driftless know this. So does Mountain Wolf Woman and Thunder Woman, for her cries are from the deep Paleolithic time of the true ecology of the driftless mind, the ecozoic mind. Bodhisattvas and sutras of compassion live here in this driftless too, singing Om Namaha Shivaya, Om Namaha Shivaya, Om Namaha Shivaya. This is not just any full moon. This sorrow, this grief so deep takes you back to the cocoon of your existence up in Echo Hollow, in some front store unit of Moon Zoo. And the compassionate driftless Mississippi refuses no river. And the compassionate driftless Mississippi refuses no river. And the full moon pulls riptides of deep driftless currents across the craton till they burn on our back. A new name coming in from the deep Adina near Wadena, and the HRS, the healing energy waves, are coming in as well. The healing energy waves of the deep astrological, astrocartographical mound culture charts our bioregional mapping back into the stars. This astrocartography biopsychic mapping of our vertical cosmic self leads us back into the constellation of the stars of our true birthplace. And these emanations of the second vision are coming of our star seed transmission of our double diamond Vertex Sutra embedded in our very RNA, and the world becomes anew in our very marrow and sinew, right here in situ and driftless. For here lay the bedrock of the world for this fifth round of humanity. Here the flowering of the sixth sun will pulsate as emanations and Pleiades, and Phaedra is replaced with Arhate as we follow the path with the heart through the holy trinity of love, light, and life. And the Immaculate Conception is the Sakwe Kwe, the white cross at the geomagnetic deviation zone of the telluric standing stones at backbone, which burst the Earth Boy 40 into the laughing Mirth Boy 40. And the carrier, the dream wheel, and the Ursa Major can't help but light up in laughter and delight as we say, may you have a fairy and a rupture of plane and of fairy delight, and a rapture of plane as we move into this unknown space right under our feet for the first time to see the driftless with the second vision and return to dream time. Thank you, one and all, and may you have a blessing for the fourth and happy summer solstice. Go low and go slow. Peace.